This video is to provide a resource to high school counselors who have never used or filled out a North Carolina EOG and EOC testing sheet. In order to improve the data management of our students, it is now a requirement that high school counselors complete a North Carolina testing sheet along with completing a history workup for every non-North Carolina public school student that enrolls. Therefore, it is imperative to know what the testing sheet is and what it looks like. As you can see on the screen on the left-hand side, this is an example of the actual North Carolina testing sheet. You can see that there is a spot for the school name, your school code, the student's name, the grade level they're in, and their PowerSchool ID. You will also see that there's a necessity for test dates and reason codes for your EOGs for 8th grade, which would be reading, math, and science, as well as your Math 1, Biology, and English 2 EOCs. On the sheet also provides you with notes about what dates to use for those EOGs as well as for the fall and spring EOCs, and a key on what reason codes you should use and why. For our purposes, you will always use an H code for your reading, math, and science EOGs, and you will always use an S code for the Math 1, Biology, and English 2 EOCs. Let's look at some examples. Let's say you have a student who is incoming as a freshman from South Carolina. The first thing the high school counselor will need to do is to complete a history workup if the student has taken any high school credit classes in middle school. If not, only a testing sheet is required. For testing sheet purposes, the high school counselor must complete the North Carolina testing sheet for the 8th grade reading, science, and math EOGs. Once again, they will use the H code, which is for transferring without an end of grade assessment score, and will use the May 1st testing date with the school year of the spring semester of when they ended their 8th grade year. Now let's say you've got a student who's incoming as a sophomore and is moving from Georgia. The high school counselor would need to complete the history workup for the student for not only their 9th grade year, but possibly any 8th grade classes they took for high school credit. They will also now need to include on their North Carolina testing sheet, besides the reading, math, and science EOGs, any possibility that they took a Math 1, Biology, or English 2 class and earned the credit. The key here is that not only did they pass the class, but they earned a full credit for Math 1, Biology, or English 2. If that's the case, they would then use the S code, student transferred from out of state or from a non-public school. And they would also use the testing dates depending on when that class was taken. You can see for the fall, it would be a January 1st date. For the spring, it would be a June 1st date, once again, using the school year ending for when they were in that class. Lastly, it is important to notate that for in-state North Carolina public school enrollments, so any student that's coming from within the state from a different LEA, there is a need to contact your data manager about hitting the transfer records button. The data managers are the only ones with access to this button. If for some reason after that button is pushed, the student's data does not populate into PowerSchool, there will now be a need to do a history workup for that student's grades. Before you would enter any testing data, we recommend you contact Juanita Maurer and see if she can find anything out on her end. If you have any questions about this process, please do not hesitate to contact myself, Christy Curran, Counselor Coordinator, at 678-2402, or Juanita Maurer, Assessment Specialist, at 829-4706.